Hi friends, we are here today to finish reading our book Monday with a Mad Genius. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Today is chapter 10 and the title of the chapter is Questions. It was twilight when Jack and Annie stepped back out into the street. "Where's the tree with the treehouse?" asked Annie. "Somewhere over the bridge beyond the big dome," said Jack. They kept their eyes on the dome as they threaded their way through the streets of Florence. When they came to the cathedral, the square was quiet. The cathedral's great doors were open. Jack and Annie could see candles burning inside. Jack and Annie kept walking and soon came to the market. The hundreds of tents and stalls were all closed for the night. The square was empty. Jack and Annie returned the way they had come that morning. Walking down the same narrow lanes, they saw that all the shops were closed now too. They crossed the covered bridge and walked along the flowing river, past quiet houses where smoke curled from chimneys into the darkening sky. Finally, Jack and Annie came to the hedge that hid the tree with the treehouse. In the gray light of dusk, they climbed up the rope ladder. "Before we go home, I want to look something up," said Jack. He pulled their research book out of his bag and looked in the index. He found it and turned to the right page. "Look, it's Lisa," said Annie. Jack and Annie stared at a picture of Leonardo's painting. It looked exactly the same, except now there was a smile on Lisa's face. The same smile they'd just seen in real life. Jack read aloud. "Leonardo da Vinci's painting of Mona Lisa is perhaps the most famous painting in the world. It is believed to be a portrait of Lisa del Gioconda. The Italian word Mona means my lady. Leonardo da Vinci never sold the portrait of Lisa. He took it with him everywhere he traveled until he died." So that's the portrait. If you Googled Leonardo da Vinci, that's the portrait of the Mona Lisa. And it is quite famous. Jack closed the book. "He kept his promise," he said. "I knew he would," said Annie. She sighed. Goodbye, Leonardo," she whispered. Then she picked up their note from Morgan and pointed at the words Frog Creek. "I wish we could go there," she said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Sunlight flooded through the treehouse window. No time had passed in Frog Creek. The school bell was still ringing, announcing that class would start in 10 minutes. Jack and Annie were wearing their school clothes. Jack's cloth bag had changed back into his backpack. "We have to hurry," said Annie. "I know," said Jack. He looked inside his pack. He was happy to see the wand of Dianthus. As he pulled out their research book, a piece of paper fell out. It was the sketch of Leonardo's angel. "Oh, I forgot all about this," said Jack. He and Annie looked at the sketch. "It shows he was really a good drawer," said Annie. "Yep," said Jack, "and it reminded us about Leonardo's secret of happiness." "He was curious about everything," said Annie. "Angels, noses, birds, feathers, flowers, wolves, and spiders," added Jack. "Shadows and light," said Annie. "Bells, clouds, the moon," said Jack. "And every time he was unhappy about something, his curiosity seemed to make him happy again," said Annie. Jack took the angel drawing from Annie and carefully put it back into his pack. "Come on," he said. "We don't want to be late for school." Jack started down the rope ladder and Annie followed. Jack and Annie walked through together the sun-bright woods. "I wonder where my new class will be," said Annie. "Yeah," said Jack. "I wonder where my desk will be. Close to the window or the door?" "And will Randy and Jenny be in my class again this year?" said Annie. "Will Joe be in mine?" said Jack. "Whatever happened to Raymond Johnson?" asked Annie. "Is he coming back this year?" "I hope so," said Jack. "And who's the new librarian? And who's the new music teacher?" "Yeah, and what kind of noses do they have?" said Annie. Jack laughed. All the questions about school didn't make him nervous anymore. Now he was eager to find out the answers. He quickened his steps. "And how long will it take us to get there if we walk really, really fast?" he said. "What if we run?" said Annie. Jack and Annie started running as the wind blew through the trees and the leaves fluttered through the air and the birds sang from the branches in the Monday morning woods. So if you remember, when Jack and Annie go on their ventures to wherever they go, time stands still in Frog Creek and they return at exactly the same moment that they left, regardless of how much time that they've spent in the foreign land that they were visiting, or with the characters that they were trying to help. Something that they said that I loved was that if you're curious, it seemed to make Leonardo happy. So I love when my students are curious, when they ask questions and wonder about things, because it makes them smarter. So always be curious and ask questions, my friends, because you will always grow. I want to finish with the end, where it just gives us a little bit of information about Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15th, 1452, in Vinci, Italy, just outside Florence. He died on May 2nd, 1519, in France. Leonardo da Vinci lived in a time called the Renaissance, and Renaissance means rebirth. The time was given this name because in those years, learning and creativity reached new heights after a long period called the Middle Ages. The Renaissance began in Italy in the 1300s and then spread to other parts of Europe. Leonardo has always been the perfect example of the Renaissance man, which is a person who has many different talents. He was not only one of the world's greatest painters, but he was also an inventor, mathematician, botanist, geologist, cook, musician, philosopher, engineer, and sculptor. Monday with the Mad Genius was inspired by many true facts about Leonardo da Vinci, such as his reverse handwriting and his keeping of many notebooks. Historians think that his notebooks may have totaled as many as 13,000 pages, but only 7,000 pages of his writings and drawings have been found. I wonder where the other pages are. Leonardo really did begin painting a fresco of a vivid battle scene called the Battle of Angahari in the Hall of the Great Council in Florence. A fresco is a plaster painting on a wall or ceiling. The Battle of Angahari was indeed damaged because Leonardo experimented with a new painting technique and parts of the painting melted down the wall. Sadly, he never finished it. Leonardo really had a great interest in birds and flying. He wrote in one of his notebooks that a bird had visited him as a baby in his cradle. One of his earliest biographers wrote that Leonardo bought caged birds in the market and freed them. Leonardo's notebooks had designs for a flying machine with flapping wings, which he called a great bird. Leonardo wrote that the great bird was about to take its first flight and would fill the universe with amazement and bring eternal glory to the nest where it was born. It was not recorded that his machine ever flew successfully. It is possible that he or an assistant may have tried to fly the plane and failed. Leonardo really did take 3 or 4 years to paint one of the world's most famous works of art, the Mona Lisa, and he really did keep the painting with him until he died. But no one knows, or will ever know, the real reason for the Mona Lisa's mysterious smile. So that's it, my friends. I enjoyed Monday with a Mad Genius. I hope you do. My task now is to go about my house, check my kids' bedrooms and their bookshelves, and hopefully find some more Magic Treehouse books here at home. If not, I'll find something that we can do a read aloud together every single day. So I want you to think about what was your favorite part of this book. My students can just email me or put a message on Remind. If you'd like to answer that question of what was your favorite part of the book and tell me why, you can reach out to your own teacher and then they can forward your response to me. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Just something extra that I thought you would like to share with me. All right, my friends, until next time, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.